TalkIn.com.
Justice was served today for Mr. Floyd doesn't mean that we are going to be bringing him back home, and that's the most unfortunate part of all of this. So, it was a day where a step towards reform was made, but there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of conversations that need to be had to make sure that this doesn't happen again, or at least try to save the next generation from having moments like this.
Welcome in, Mackie and Judd. That was Karl-Anthony Towns after, I would say, one of the more exciting, and by the way, they dedicated the game after the game to George Floyd, Towns, and other players speaking from the heart. But that was maybe one of the most entertaining and I would say hopeful. Like, if you're just looking, if you're a Wolves fan and you're crawling through the desert and you're just looking for a bottle of water, like the fourth quarter last night against the Kings gave you that bottle of water, Judd.
So I had the my computer side by side last night. Twins on one, right? Which is just very disappointing. Which is extremely disappointing.
We got to talk about Declan. Had a major conundrum. Declan may have just wasted a laptop purchase last night.
Oh yeah, well.
And the Wolves were on my other computer. And you know what? More and more as the basketball game played out, I'm like, this is a fun game. Like, it's back and forth. I don't know if there was much defense played. I do believe the defense at times last night in Sacramento might have been optional, but that's okay. I don't really care at this point in time. That was a fun game to watch. And this comes back to my question that I asked you yesterday. The more I think about this, Phil, with the current roster that this team has, with a few tweaks here and there, why a season from now can't they be competing for a playoff spot? I'm not saying a playoff run. I'm not saying a top four team.
I might be after last night.
Why can't? No, but I'm serious.
I think they're winning the title next year. They just need LeBron James to tear his ACL and they're in, baby. Let's do this.
What is going to, like, what's the impediment? Oh, the team stinks. Well, actually, they don't stink. Like, they've got players, right? If they've got the right coach, they've got players. I definitely could see an additional or two for sure, okay? So I'm not saying that the roster is perfect. It's not. But they've got players. They've got some top echelon talent. Why a year from now can't we be talking about a fun Wolves team that is at least in a conversation in the Western Conference to be in the playoff picture?
The tweet that I sent out last night, I think, is a great social experiment for how many people don't have a sarcasm or a fun radar. I said, Wolves are winning the title next year. Fight me. And I would say about a third of the responses were like, you're out of your mind. They're not going to. What are you smoking out there, Mackie? Hey, Mackie, maybe you should take off your Wolves-colored glasses. Like,
you want my best one last night? My best one last night was the lights go out in the Oakland Coliseum, which is a piece of crap, okay? It's from the 60s. And I tweet, shocking that the new Oakland Coliseum would have a malfunction like this. And I actually got one guy tweeting back, what are you talking about? It's not new. It's not new.
I just lost connection, but I caught the tail end of that, and I'm back now. And now I'm going to go onto your Twitter account and troll you with a few
go on and troll me
anonymous avatars.
And then the guy got back to me a second time with the year the Coliseum was built. Like, as if to tell a 51-year-old dude, yeah, you know what? It's not a new stadium at all.
There needs to be some sort of a sarcasm like button that you can put on a tweet. I don't know. So all right, a great fourth quarter for the Wolves last night. You had at one point D'Angelo Russell, they're still pumping the brakes on his minutes a little bit. He didn't really play down the stretch, but he had 28 points in 25 minutes on 13 shots last night. Ant Edwards was mostly really good. It took a while for Towns to join the party offensively, but he puts up 26, 18, and 5. And so a lot of positive feel-good vibes for the Wolves. Until you open up the ringer.com yesterday, which casted some major shade upon young star Anthony Edwards. And this Timberwolves shade is presented by Federated Mutual Insurance Company, okay? All right, so Federated is here with positive vibes for your business, not negative shade-like vibes.
I was
going to
say, yeah, exactly. They're the good guys.
The Ringer is the opposite when it comes to your business. I'm sorry, Federated is the opposite for your business, as the Ringer is to the Timberwolves.
Got yourself in a pickle now, don't you?
You can find out more about why Federated has been providing risk management resources and peace of mind to business owners in the state of Minnesota for over 100 years at federatedinsurance.com. Find out more about MyShield as well, the online client destination for risk management resources. Federatedinsurance.com. Remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right. The article examines current NBA player comps for the 2020 rookie class.
Okay.
And for Anthony Edwards, the number one pick last year, who has been up and down at times, but has shown you some ridiculous upside, especially in the second half of the season, right? His top 5 comps, according to The Ringer, are Kobe White, J.R. Smith, Colin Sexton, Dion Waiters, and Jordan Crawford. And I'm going to read you the excerpt here, okay? Edwards is one of the most extreme examples of a high-usage, low-efficiency rookie. And by the way, that's not necessarily false. He shoots a lot. He only shoots like 40%, and he's got games where he's going to go like 3 of 15 from the field unapologetically, right? So we've seen that. It's not a false statement to say that he's a low-efficiency, high-usage player. Sure. The 19-year-old has fired up shots this season with or without Towns and Russell next to him, becoming one of 16 rookies this century with a usage rate of at least 27%. But among that group, the only players with a lower efficiency are Jordan Crawford and Dennis Smith Jr. And so what they're saying here is he is one of the highest usage, lowest efficiency players in all of the NBA. And they even noted, too, that even as he's poured in points since the All-Star break, he's needed a lot of shots to get there. Out of 48 players this season, not just rookies, but all players, with a usage rate of at least 25%, Edwards ranks last in true shooting percentage. I just want to tell you guys that this is a ludicrous set of players to compare Anthony Edwards to. When you factor in, none of the comps listed in this article were regularly taking over games as 19-year-olds. When you go look at like J.R. Smith's rookie season or Dion Waiters' rookie season, they went like 8 and 10 game stretches where they didn't even score 10 points in a game because they were just like sort of in over their heads as young players for the most part. Anthony Edwards has flaws as a 19-year-old, but he is regularly taking over games and winning them for the Timberwolves. And B, none of the comps listed here to me had the dynamic team leader type personality that he has displayed as a 19-year-old. And so to sit here and say, well, I mean, like his true shooting percentage looks like Dion Waiters. Okay, what about all the other factors that maybe you can't quantify as the analytics guy on this show that you can't quantify on basketballreference.com? He has shown more upside at 19 years old than any of those 5 dudes that were listed in this article. And he just has to take like all of the upside that he has shown in the 20 and 30-point games and trim out some of the inefficiencies. I'd rather start from there than start from a place of J.R. Smith just being oblivious and clueless as a 19-year-old. Your thoughts?
Why do I feel like, and this has been the case before, but it feels like more and more it's being pounded home. The analytics of things, which I think are definitely intriguing and definitely help. Like they really do help you go down a path that 15 years back you didn't go down. But as of late, and across the sports, I feel like we're talking more and more about the eye test and seeing what you see like being gone. And it like we're pivoting to analytics is king and here's what it means. And you're like, yeah, did you watch the games? And look, Ant has growing to do, okay? He's a young player. He has some awful games. He is admittedly a great athlete and a developing basketball player, but he's not there yet. Nobody is saying that you know, this is him and the good and the bad. No, there's a lot to be done here. I completely get that. But Phil, it feels like in the last, I don't know, couple months or so, we are in agreement, but we're having these discussions about the eye test, and what you see is like just completely removed. It's like the analytics say this, and this is what this guy or this team is, and that's that. And it's like, well, yeah, did you watch games? Like you're not, your point's not wrong, and it's a great starting point possibly, but it's not where we're going to end up here, because it has to be melded together, which I am, as an old guy, more than happy to do, like, because I find it intriguing. So like if you bring what you bring and I bring what I bring, and we have a discussion and we combine those two things, I think that we can get to a really interesting place of sports discussion that 20 years back we probably didn't. So that's great. But I don't know why it feels like now we are pivoting or going to a place where Ant is this and he's 19 and this is what it says, and you're like, okay, but are we allowing for any room for the discussion to change because of growth and or what we know that we have seen for those of us who watch this player on a regular basis?
Yeah, in fact, like, I'm gonna compare Anthony Edwards to another recently familiar young Timberwolves player, and if you just want to play the stat sheet in the analytics game for a second here, and I'm not going to give you like deep dive analytics, I'm just going to give you like some general back of the basketball card stats. Okay, if you didn't watch these guys play in their rookie seasons, but you just compared their stat lines, Andrew Wiggins is a 19-year-old with the Timberwolves, averaged 17 points. Anthony, and they both, Wiggins was playing a few more minutes. He was playing like 35 minutes. Ant's playing like 32, but they're both playing over 30 minutes a game. So Ant, 18 points a game. Wiggins, 17 points a game. Ant, 4.5 rebounds. Wiggins, 4.5 rebounds. Ant, 2.5 assists. Wiggins, 2 assists. Ant, 40% field goals. Wiggins, 43% field goals. Both of them shooting 31% and 32% from three. Back of the basketball card stats, Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Edwards are basically the same player as a 19-year-old. And so if you never watched either one of those guys play and you didn't get to soak in their personalities and you didn't get to see the dynamic and what they did late in games, you would say, oh man, they're basically the same guy. They're both inefficient offensive players, and he's basically going to be a bust like Andrew Wiggins, right? Or just like relegated to a role player. When you watch Andrew Wiggins and you watch Anthony Edwards, could you find like two more diametrically opposed styles and personalities? I mean, Wiggins is actively looking to hide in the corner, save for like 3 times per game when he sees an open lane and might go down for a dunk, right? Edwards is looking to take over every single time he touches the ball, it feels like to me. And maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but I just don't think you can look at, like, if you're comparing Anthony Edwards to Dion Waiters, that is on you.
Yeah, well,
I mean, come on.
There's 2 things about Ant that stand out in the conversation to me as well. One is personality, ability to want to lead, ability for people to gravitate towards him, which is a discussion that I will admit is a tough one because there's no way to completely quantify it, but it's important. The other and the most important, and this has been brought up by a lot of people, including Gerson when he came on with us, is Ant is in no way close to being a finished product. Like, Andrew came out of school, and yes, there was growth to be done there. But, I mean, that was sort of his game, right? Like, he was going to grow, but you sort of thought to yourself, okay, I sort of know how much he'll grow probably. When it comes to Ant, it's a different ball game here. Like, he is an athlete who played basketball, but he is far from a complete player. So I just think when you meld all of the different things about Ant's personality, about Ant's potential growth, and the other thing too, and this is another unquantifiable thing, is you listen to Ant or watch Ant play, you basically come away saying, this guy wants to be great. Mm-hmm. You tell me, Phil, when was the time, including when you talked to him in person at Media Day, when was the time you walked away from Andrew Wiggins and said, you know what? Today's the day. I think he wants to be great.
Yeah, and I would throw almost every one of those 5 guys that were listed in the comp section here in that same category where, like, yeah, they're NBA players and they're talented and I'm sure they want to be really good, but I just think Ant is on a totally different level. And one more thing off this, and we'll talk some Twins and get to our Write That Down predictions and accountability session here today. So they used a graphic here. They took a bunch of prominent rookies, basically rookies this century with a 27% usage rate, and then lined up their true shooting percent. So the goal here is rookies who have been used the most in this century and rank them based on how efficient they are as offensive players. And the top of this list is Kyrie Irving, Blake Griffin. Elton Brand was a good player. But then it's like Ben Gordon and Jahlil Okafor are also on this list near the top. And Carmelo Anthony and Luka Doncic. So it's kind of a mixed bag. At the bottom of the list, Ant Edwards is third from the bottom. The two guys right ahead of him, who also were very inefficient, high-usage players as rookies, were DeMarcus Cousins and LeBron James. LeBron James is a rookie. I looked this up this morning, all right? LeBron James as a rookie had 37 games where he shot below 40% from the field. 15 of those games, he was below 30%. And again, I am not saying Ant Edwards is going to be the next LeBron James. He's not.
That's what I heard.
I
just heard that on this show right now. That's what I just heard.
But the greatest player of our generation, him and Michael Jordan, right? As a rookie, could get any shot he wanted, had some shooting issues, which Anthony Edwards has too, and just needed to sort of figure out where the inefficiencies were on the court offensively. And it just takes you a minute as an 18 or 19-year-old to figure that out sometimes. So I saw that article and I was like, I love the Ringer so much, but oh my God.
Write that down. Write that down. Ant will be better than LeBron James. That's what I heard.
We'll quantify that on today's Write That Down session for sure.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score. We're gonna win.
No. False advertising. I'm suing.
Definitely not going to score. In fact, I don't think they've scored a run since last Friday.
They scored a run in the 6th against the Angels, and I think it was a 10-3 loss. They did not score in the final 3 of that game, and then they came back and played 14 innings on Tuesday. So we're at 17 now without a run being scored.
Oof. Today's Talkin' Twins discussion is powered, and maybe they can help power some bats here at DennisKirk.com. So if you're a rider, Harleys, sport bikes, cruisers, whatever it is that you ride, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock. I don't think they have doubles, triples, and home runs in stock, which the Twins could use.
Can they order
what
some?
happened to the Bomba Squad? But the Bomba Squad is now like the fizzled out firecracker squad 2 years later.
It's like the Acme one that Wile E. Coyote buys and blows up in his face trying to get the road. Like that you got out of the Acme version of the Bomba Squad. It's basically that. It's cartoonish.
So at DennisKirk.com, you order before 8 p.m. and they ship the same day. Plus shipping is free for orders over $89. Best in the business. DennisKirk.com. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com. All right. I feel like we've had like a daily panic index on this show when it comes to the Twins, but my God, they just played a doubleheader against the A's. And remind me, is it Diekman who locked down the save last night?
Jake Diekman.
Yeah.
And he's a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. He's a good reliever. But, like, he's throwing 95. And that's, 95 is a hard fastball. Guys throw harder. It looked like the way that hitters were reacting to his fastball, Buxton swung and missed at 3 of them. Astudillo was late on a bunch of them. It looked like he was throwing 104 miles an hour. Like, they just couldn't pick it up. I don't know if it was the dim lights at the Oakland Coliseum, but they're swinging through these just piped fastballs. And Diekman's like, all right, whatever, dude. I guess I'll just throw right down the middle, 95. And if you guys can't catch up to it, so be it. But and then Donaldson missed a couple of fastballs right down the middle in his last at-bat. So
called out on strikes, too.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess the Twins haven't scored a run since last Friday. Sano's out with a hamstring. Now what is your level of panic? It was high yesterday, but what is it now?
I'm not panicked. I'm pissed off. I'm frustrated. And here's why. Okay, so honest to God, you've got now Kepler, Garlick, Andrelton Simmons, Thielbar on the COVID injured list, okay? And the Twins they actually said this. I saw this reported with my own eyes. I couldn't believe it. Like, this is a competitive baseball team. Like, this is supposed to be a good team. And the Twins actually said that they didn't want to put Alex Kirilloff on a commercial flight to fly him to Oakland because of the pandemic, and that he might be up now, I guess, on Friday against the Pirates at Target Field. But did you guys look at the lineups last night? Astudillo played both games. Brent Rooker is Edward Bleepin' Scissorhand in the outfield. The man cannot. I mean, he's a butcher out there.
Yeah, that's right.
This team needs offense. This team needs help, and you don't want to put a guy on a plane on a commercial flight. You know, he can wear a mask. I hope he's got the vaccine, right? Instead, you're like, Astudillo played both games. What's he doing playing both games at second base? You're a major league team. You're supposed to be good. Aren't we supposed to be past this? The Twins right now, here's what frustrates me. So I'm not panicked. I'm pissed. What frustrates me is this. The Twins are doing very Terry Ryan later year things right now. They are. And they're supposed to be, they're a competitive team. They're supposed to be good. And I'm sorry, the last time I checked, you don't really have the luxury of stacking losses at any point in time. So you can't put Kirilloff on a plane? Are you serious? Astudillo has to start both games. He's a backup. And now you've got three guys, three of your important players, I guess all three are, who have had hamstring problems. And we're not out of April yet. JD, his first at bat, hamstring. Buxton, missed time, hamstring. Now the big guy, Miguel Sano. Oh, he had to come out with a hamstring. What the hell is going on here? I'm not panicked because I'm far more upset about what I'm seeing and what they're not doing. No, but I mean, this can all be a lot of this can be avoided. A lot of this, put Kirilloff on a plane. I'll drive him to the damn airport. I'll give him a couple masks. Put him on a plane and fly him to that game yesterday. Seriously, when did we get to a point where, if we lose these, I mean, you look at some of the guys they're playing, it's an invitation to lose big games. And by the way, you were playing an Oakland team that went into yesterday with 8 consecutive wins. So they were playing really good baseball. And you're like, it'll be fine.
How sure are we that Alex Kirilloff, who by the way has up until the doubleheader a week ago or whenever it was, had 0 regular season major league at bats. He had the 3 playoff plate appearances, but he doesn't have any real major league experience. He's still a young dude. He might still need some up and down. It's possible he doesn't break out for another year or 2. We don't know.
Yep.
I mean, we're looking at him right now. How big of an issue is it that, oh my God, they need to get him up here to save the offense?
But I'm saying, give yourself a chance. No, and I'm not saying he can save it. I'm saying, I scored 2 games in the $30 scorebook last night and was embarrassed to write some of those names in the starting lineup.
The 2 biggest elephants in the room right now are the 2 guys that you signed to, 6-7-year contracts, and they're very team-friendly. But when you signed Jorge Polanco and Max Kepler to those contracts, and then you saw what they did offensively 2 years ago on the Bomba squad, you thought, oh my God, these are going to be the 2 best contracts in baseball. These guys are emerging as 2 of the best players at their positions.
Yeah.
And those guys are just sort of clueless so far this season at the plate. And Jorge Polanco is swinging a wet rolled up newspaper. I would love to see Kirilloff here too. I agree with what you're saying, which is, just find a way at some point when your offense can't do anything, find a way to get him in a Twins uniform and just see what he can do.
Right. But
I think their offensive woes and how far they've fallen since the Bomba squad 2 years ago, that's the thing that I am the absolute most concerned about right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's a James Rowson being gone problem, if it was a juiced baseball problem, and the Twins were just uniquely able to capitalize on a juiced baseball 2 years ago, or if there was something else at play that we don't know of, that was a reason for why they were so great offensively 2 years ago. But it is amazing. I mean, I don't think there's a team in baseball that's fallen off as much as they have offensively since 2019. And I get that we're still dealing with some small samples, a 60-game season last year and the first 3 weeks of this season. But at some point, you can't just not score runs in both games of a doubleheader. And you can't just look at a lineup and say, all right, well, when Nelson Cruz comes up, then everything's going to be fine. They have 5 automatic outs in their lineup any given night, maybe even more when some of these guys are out with hamstring problems. So, yeah, I don't know. if the problem is if Kepler and Polanco, and I get that Kepler's on the COVID list right now, but like before he was on the COVID list, he had 3 hits in the first game, if I'm not mistaken, and basically has done almost nothing since then.
Correct.
And so if those guys aren't going to be the players that you thought they were going to be, I don't know what the fix is, because I think you have to keep running them out there based on the contracts that they signed. And it's not like you just have like instant replacements for those guys. So it's a really interesting situation. And like Brent Rooker hasn't stepped up and taken a spot yet. He's still just like completely lost offensively. And like you said, he's not really going to be an outfielder long term. So, I mean, they got to.
I hope not.
They got to figure some of this stuff out quick, because they've already given away the fast start in the first week, and now they're 4 games under 500.
And that's my point about Kirilloff. You've got to figure things out. So, like saying we don't want to put him on a plane and fly him commercial. No, that's not the. And I'm not saying that Kirilloff is going to arrive in Oakland and be, the guy who fixes things. He's not. I understand that completely. But like, you need to make moves right now. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that drives me nuts. The Twins for 2 years with Rocco have been really good during the course of the season until the playoffs. And part of the whole thing, and it sort of made you think at times, but it didn't become a real problem, was this laid back, everything will work out, everything will be fine, right? And you know what? Baseball's a long year. There are times where that mentality is probably really smart. In fact, there are lots of times that it probably works. Right now, though, I can tell you, is not one of those times. Like, you need to be doing things right now that don't show panic. They show urgency. An acknowledgement that you understand the urgency of what's going on here. Right? Right?
Well,
like
what would you? I think you're talking about 2 different things here. I think you're talking about things the front office can do, which is get Kirilloff up and just cross your fingers.
I'm talking about an organizational philosophy of there are times to be laid-back fish guy, and there are times to be, this needs to be addressed right bleeping now guy. Okay?
Are you saying that Rocco needs to go in, though, and light these guys up?
No. I'm saying across the board, everybody who runs this team, Falvey, Levine, Baldelli, needs to be right now acknowledging and showing and making moves that show that there is an urgency to the predicament. So, no, I'm not saying no yelling, no screaming, but you don't have the luxury right now of the whole, it's a long year, the guys, we're just trying to keep them calm. We're just trying to, you need to do things. You can't say that you're a major league team and you don't want to put a guy on a commercial flight. That doesn't work for me.
I want to go on the record real quick because, listen, I am just as annoyed at all of these things. I'm annoyed by the hamstrings. I'm annoyed by the lack of offense.
Sure.
I'm annoyed that they have 1 win since April 9th because they've lost a bunch of games and because they haven't played for a few days. But I want to go on the record and say I still think they're fine. And I think it's really easy to overreact to a small chunk, especially at the beginning of the season. Like, almost every team in baseball is going to go through multiple stretches where they just have a bunch of problems. And we highlighted that Dodgers example from 4 years ago where they went to the World Series and lost 20 out of 21 games in September or something. Baseball's a weird sport.
Yep.
And if you look up and down the league right now, the Yankees are 6-10, the Twins are 6-10, the Astros are 7-9. Over in the National League, the Braves are 7-10, and they're expected to be in the mix as one of the best teams in the National League. Mm-hmm. And even the Padres are just 500, and they were supposed to be a 100-win team this year, and might still be. So all I will say is everything that you're bringing up, and I'm with you on this stuff. It's all valid, but a 6-10 start to the season doesn't mean that you're going to be garbage all year, and it doesn't mean that the season's over. So I just want to set that expectation.
In fact, a 6-10 start is possibly a gift, and here's why. This is a fire drill right now. Okay, this is I love the fact that the Twins are being tested with a fire drill. Do you know what this is a drill for? The playoffs, the urgency. This is an example of, do you have a gear? Do you have a gear to show urgency? So
Well,
I'm not.
You're saying that what we've seen lately is a great test. I would say that they've failed the test. If that's
Well, they are
case.
failing the test, which is why I want to see what causes this franchise from a baseball operations standpoint to say, okay, we need to do something here. We can't just continue with this Grateful Dead kumbaya dance that we love to do. You know, like I don't want to hear trucking no more. You know, I don't want to hear the Grateful Dead no more. Put on some urgent music right now and make some bleeping moves. Doesn't mean that you got a meltdown. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be true to yourself. But Phil, at some point in time, urgency is required of people that want to be successful.
Judd's like, put on some "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac and just crank it in the clubhouse.
I don't care what you put on. Just put on something that shows that you're urgent. Take the fish out of the CD player. The Grateful Dead too.
CD player.
Put the CD player away. Get the iPod out and make it urgent.
Declan, do you have a CD player?
Yeah, I have one in my apartment actually. Yeah, I do.
I love a
really?
good CD
I
player.
do. I have a
use it?
record player. No, God, no. I haven't used the CD player.
You have a record
in
player?
years. I have a vinyl player.
Little
too,
vinyl?
Yep, I have a vinyl
We
player.
we don't have a CD player, but we do have a record player. Yes.
Yep, I got one for Christmas about 5-6 years ago. Still use it. It's good. It's a good time.
Oh, old school. Old school's
yeah.
the greatest.
Phenomenal.
Little like a skip or something. It's just fantastic. I love it.
What song,
The
what
vinyl.
artist would you recommend for the Clubhouse vibes right now? Declan, I just told Judd. I think "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac. I think you just need to light the whole thing on fire.
Yes, you need something to light them on their fire. I'm trying to think of like a good like rambunctious, like, you know what? Some DMX. Like get some honor some DMX
Like
here.
going here.
Just I was talking on Instagram Live yesterday on our SKOR North channel late last night with a couple seltzers in, and Josh Donaldson like showing the fire and passion and like him yelling at a rise to get down to third, because some people are like, I don't see the passion from Donaldson. I think you see the passion from Donaldson.
I do too. Yeah,
I think
he's yelling
he's
at himself after missing those
Yeah.
fastballs. I love that guy, man.
Super locked in. I love how he plays pissed off. That's what I like about him. He plays pissed off, and I want someone to get. I want him and because I think him and Jose. Because someone even asked, like, do you think him and Jose have conflicting styles? And I said, actually, no. I think they have extremely similar styles.
For reals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
absolutely.
pissed. He pitches pissed off all the time as well. So I want both those guys to light them up. Like, seriously, get them going.
Hey, last thing. Why the hell is the Oakland Coliseum still a thing? Like, what are we doing here? Why?
Also, like, dude, it's
why?
People act like, well, I mean, it's Oakland. What do you mean it's Oakland? The Bay Area is like one of the 5 biggest, and
Yes.
and now Oakland's not necessarily known as like a rich area. It's more San Francisco, Silicon Valley, but there's money in the area. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's money in the area.
I mean, you regularly have a bank of lights that goes out. Like, they had this problem last year too, or
Dude, they've had
or
raw
sewage bags.
sewage.
Yes, like it's not a cute ballpark, you know. Wrigley,
Honestly,
Fenway,
the Twins deserve it.
blow
right now.
it up.
The Twins deserve it right now. They deserve.
Oh, they
raw
deserve the sewage
in their
They
visitor
deserve the
clubhouse right
sewage
now.
backing up.
Yeah, go score a run, and we'll shovel the sewage out of your clubhouse and dugout. That's your reward. If you
In
score
fact,
a
they're
run,
playing
we'll get
like
the
that,
sewage.
Phil. They're playing like it at this point in time. Raw sewage, baby. We're gonna win, we're gonna score. Win.
Yeah. So, all right, that's Talkin' Twins. Every single day, we break down this 6-10 baseball team that can't score a run to save its life. And you can find bonus episodes with Judd and Dex and our friend, the artist formerly known as the Curse of Punto on Twitter, Jake
He is not
DePew.
happy. He is not happy last night.
Go check out. Declan did a little couple seltzers in Instagram Live on our SKOR North Instagram channel last night. Just Instagram.com/SKOR North, SKOR North, if you want to check that out. All right, boys, it's time for us to take a deep breath, collect ourselves, and go through the weekly accountability session. Write that down, predictions, and an accountability session coming up next on Mackie and Judd.